Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Counselor's Office. We are back with some more The Counselor Reacts and more of some game news. So we talked about some of the things in the past about Microsoft way back in the day. But here we got some new news. Microsoft CEO pay will be tied to Xbox more than ever in 2025. This is by GameFile. The link will be down below for you to check it out. But let's just jump right in, shall we? CEOs of publicly traded companies usually receive most of their annual compensation through cash and stock. That is tied to how the company performs in certain ways. For example, CEO of Exxon, who made $36.9 million last year, has some of his pay tied to the company's energy transition. The CEO of John Deere, who has made $26.7 million last year, has some of his pay tied to the operating return on sales. It's best not to sell all those trucks and tractors at a loss. Executives at Meta are tasked with admittedly unmeasurable performance goals, such as the extortion to build awesome things and go out and tell our story. But some companies are more specific, including Microsoft, which announced revised performance criteria for their top executives yesterday in the company's annual proxy filing to shareholders. If you're reading GameFile, you might be interested in knowing that Xbox, specifically revenue from content and services, not hardware. That's right. Specifically revenue from content and services, not hardware. So that means the CEOs aren't making bank from selling an Xbox console, just Game Pass and maybe selling the video games themselves. It's set to be a bigger part of the senior Microsoft executive performance pay targets in 2025 than it has been in years. You know, part of me wonders if it's because consoles aren't doing so hot nowadays. I mean, they still sell, but they're not. With the rise of PC, and we have like handhelds like the Steam Deck and stuff like that, where you can play most games on the Steam Deck, and it's cheaper than an Xbox and it's cheaper than a PC. But overall, most people see that the rise in cost of consoles, you might as well just get a PC. And that's what a lot of people are doing. Also, people aren't also just always upgrading to the next console. Most consoles last for several years until they get outdated, which there's been a slow increase. Like we went Xbox One, and we went to the 360, and Xbox One, Xbox. There's so many different abbreviations, but we went through so many, but we're slowly trailing off. So obviously sales and consoles are not doing so hot. And besides, Nintendo Switch was like the most dominant sales and consoles. And then I think PlayStation started picking up too. But outside of that, like CEOs want their money. So I see this more of a benefit to the CEO than anything else. So let's continue on. Well, that's pretty much it, right? It's very interesting. The annual revision to how Satya Nadella is paid makes growth in Xbox Game Services, not ours, more lucrative for him. And that's the bottom dollar, right? I think Game Pass for Microsoft is probably one of the most lucrative businesses, because I'll give you an example. I played the new Call of Duty Black Ops 6 on Game Pass for free, but I technically paid $11 for it to play on PC. Imagine how many other people are doing that, especially when it's a game that's getting early access based on a service. Obviously, other games released about the same time. But the reason I'm saying this is, like, I'll give you another example, right? Xbox Game Pass. You pay $11. You get a whole plethora of library of games that are digital. You can play it any time you want, download as many as you want. No one's restricting you. Black Ops 6, again, you can play on PlayStation, you can play on PC. However, Game Pass, you can change region and get access to it earlier. Yes, can you do that with like Steam? Can you do that with PlayStation? Yes, but you're actually having to spend the full $80, $60. Whereas Game Pass, you can just do a little trick and you're going to get access to the game for $11 earlier than everyone else, and you get to play the game right off the rip. Why am I mentioning this? Is because things like that do drive sales. People are going to invest in Game Pass knowing that they can play a game early and they don't have to spend $80 and they don't have to wait, because people are impulsive and they do want to play the new toy when they see their favorite streamer or content creator or people posting on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. All this does add to the sales of like Game Pass. And then just the games themselves as well. Remember, Microsoft now owns Activision. So if Activision's making a game that people really want, then people are going to buy the Game Pass. People are going to buy the digital copy. They're going to buy that. And so that's all going into the pocket of the CEO now. I mean, not all of it, obviously. But what I'm saying is now their pay is based on that. Consoles, I think the date on consoles is, boop. I mean, they're not nearly as needed anymore, especially when you have Game Pass on PC now. Like, you can still have access to a lot of games. Not everything Xbox owns, but you have a huge plethora of options. I just thought this was interesting because now that it's tied to CEOs, you would think and hope that maybe quality in games will go up, because the better a game is, the more quality you present, the more money they make. I don't know. I also don't know whether this was decided by shareholders specifically. The article really doesn't specify that, which is slightly annoying to me. Annual proxy filing to shareholders. So it was just based on their filing to the shareholders. It wasn't the shareholders demanding this. It's very obvious that this is the CEO's way of keeping money afloat, because they're not going to make that much money off of consoles, but they are on the services themselves. I think this could be a bonus to gamers as well. Like, there's an incentive now for the CEO for the company to make good games. I wish Sony was like that a little bit, honestly. I wish we would get better quality. I think this is going to dramatically shape, as just a conversation with you guys, do I really think this is going to change much? I don't. I want to be hopeful and say, yes, this encourages more good games in the future. But ultimately, I don't think this is going to change anything. It's just going to change the flow of cash. That's it. I think that's just going to change the flow of cash. I do think it's interesting, though, that people need to stop looking at, like, what's the better console. I think console wars are outdated. I think anyone who is a console bro is like, my console's better than yours. Like, stop. You living in a bygone age where it was a funny thing and a cool thing to be like, I'm an Xbox guy, or I'm a Sony guy. And we're just starting out. Games have exploded. Most games are on both consoles now. Like, there's nothing to really fight over. There really isn't much to fight over nowadays, especially when PC gaming is superior in every functional way. It's just, you see more cheaters, unfortunately, on PC than you do consoles. That's the only saving grace for consoles, but you do see cheaters on console. It's been proven time and time again, but at the level is not the same. But my hope is that, with the focus on services, Game Pass continues to excel. I think Game Pass is a fantastic service. I wish PlayStation would do the same thing. They are trying, but it's not as good of a service, in my opinion. Obviously, there's like EA Pass and like Ubisoft Pass, and their games are ass. So I don't even give a crap about their passes. Like, the product that they try to provide is garbage. So overall, I hope those die out in extinction. Instead, they just go into Game Pass. More games on Game Pass, the better. More on PlayStation. Maybe they make a better version of their service. That's good. Yeah, that's it. That's all I want to talk. Very short video. I just thought it was very interesting, and I'm trying to do different news. If anything else changes in the future, like we see a change on how things are, like if quality goes down because of this, I will make a follow-up video. But overall, not much going on here. Like I said, link will be down below. Let me know what you think. Do you think this is going to change anything? Do you think this is going to move anything? Just an interesting thing. As always, don't forget to be the best version of yourself, and game out.